Hi everyone out there in the void. Welcome to the Shaken Fist. Now you know this is just another. I see. You can see it's a special occasion still because I still have my fancy tie on because we still got the because we still have the privilege of watching a fucking Matt Powell video. So this is immensely fun. It's so much fun, isn't it? Fun, everybody! Yay! So cool beans. Sorry about the stream on Sunday. Internet died. There's not much you can do. I don't really have anything else to say. So let's do the shit. Let's get the thing going. Fucking get him.
Just say the word and you're forgiven. And have no fear 'cause he is risen. Before you realize the rapture ensues. In this world in front of the becomes a fading memory. Rejoice just as the choir sings. Rejoice now. Nail me up again.
And now just one more thing. It's the bit of the video where I have to do the YouTube things, and I go, hey, why don't you like the video? If you haven't subscribe and leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. And if you like me enough and you really want to make the channel grow, there's ways to support the channel in the description below. So please do that if you so feel inclined. I would be ever so grateful, and thank you for all that you're doing, even if you just hate one.
Let me tell you, people often say that the devil does not exist, yet they do things that really can only be explained by the intervention of Satan on this earth. How do you get all these terrible things that happen? How do you get all these horrible people that exist that go and trick other people? How does that happen? The existence of Satan perfectly explains why this happens.
Oh dear.
Yes.
See, God gave you free will. You see, God gave you free will. And then Satan means that you don't have free will. And God can harden your heart, of course. So you still have free will. Of course you have free will. There's only a bunch of, utterly dimensioned creatures and all supreme beings of ultimate good and ultimate evil that are like, controlling you. Because you have free will. The demons are making you do stuff. So, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, and all, whatever name you want to get, Lucifer, the Morning Star, all this different shit, wasn't a Jewish thing. They didn't believe in the devil because there wasn't a hell. There was Sheol, which was like the Greek underworld of a place of complete darkness, where you existed basically as a shade, and there wasn't really any life after death, because that was what made Christianity popular. It was one of the first ones that really went, do you know what, actually got to heaven here. So you toil and suffer, and then you go to heaven, and it's fine. Don't worry, it comes after you die. So Satan is Ha-Satan in the Hebrew, and it means the opposer, and it doesn't mean the devil. It means someone who works on God's side, So, like, he did the stuff to Job, he did Balaam's ass, he got in the way of fucking, some people think he's the one that wrestled Jacob. Like, every time Ha-Satan is mentioned, it's not in a demonic way, right? Even when Satan is tempting Jesus, he's tempting Jesus to, like he's a fucking test. Not that, like, he's there to stop Jesus from being the Son of God. Like, he's making sure that Jesus is pure enough to be the Son of God.
Now you listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
It's almost like it's a set of purification rites where they ask you the things to tempt you, and you go, no, I shall not do, so like, you're supposed to, like, when you're in, you go, and you see in the films, and they go into the special forces, and they give them a dog, and they go, you got to name the little doggy, and then you got to take care of it, and then you got to kill the dog at the end. And you're supposed to go, I can kill this dog, and then it's not got a bullet in it, and then you go, you've passed. It's that shit. But the Bible talks about Gehenna, a valley on the outside of Jerusalem, where Moloch's worshippers would like take the bodies that were left there, that was left to be. So when Jesus says you will be left in Gehenna out of the sight of God, it means that you don't get any of your purification rites during your burial rituals, and your body just gets left out in the valley of Gehenna. It's just a valley outside of old school Jerusalem, And then the Moloch worshippers would come and defile the bodies in their religious rites. That's what was going on there. But just like the creation of the word Jehovah, Christians didn't understand the theology they were nicking from and just made it up, and then went, that's what it was all along. And the Jews went, no, it wasn't. That's why we're not Christians. And the Christians go, well, it's time to persecute them then. Hey. But what do us atheists know about your history? You certainly don't know jack shit about it, you scum-shot fuck piece of shit.
You don't want to be proud to be an atheist, because it's nothing to be proud of.
Neither's being a Christian, because your holy book, that the one that you like to have sex with, it says, pride goeth before a fall. Ooh. So, wouldn't that go both ways, dickhead?
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
You do realize why a lot of people feel pride coming out of atheism, don't you? It's because they fought against an oppressive regime that had been controlling them for a number of years, and they broke out of it like they broke out of an abusive relationship. And they took the penalties of the shunning from the family members or whoever that decided they didn't want to be a part of their lives anymore because they were an atheist. And they got through the hard part, and they came through it. And that makes them feel prideful because they achieved something. So, like, you shouldn't be prideful about being an atheist. Well, I don't have to follow your rules, and we can be proud about whatever we want.
Because to me, pride should be reserved for something you achieve or attain on your own, not something that happens by accident of birth.
In fact, like I said, you're joining a group of people that leads the world in the most reprehensible acts that have ever been known to man.
It's just the most reprehensible things known to man. School shootings, suicides, alcoholism, and drug abuse. No war crimes, no rape, no mass murder, no torture, no slavery. Things that are definitely worse than a school shooting. But hey, we lead the world in the worst things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The worst things, drone strikes, we own that. Genocides, we own that. Ethnic cleansings.
I like you and have no reason not to.
I like you and have no reason not to.
Hey, did you hear about that magic baby that was born in Bethlehem?
And some of you atheists out there will say that Christians are hypocritical. I can't be a Christian because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Hypocrisy isn't even wrong if there's no God. So you can't even have a moral argument in this case because there's no objective morality to begin with.
They ought to check with that Jesus fellow they're so crazy about. They're always talking about what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? They don't want to know so they can do it. They just want to know so they can tell other people to do it. Well, I'll tell you what Jesus would have done. I'll tell you what Jesus would have done. He would have got up on the top of the Empire State Building and said, God bless everyone around the world forever and ever till the end of time. That's what Jesus would have done, and that's what these people should do.
And then number two, just because certain Christians fail to live the Bible doesn't mean that the Bible isn't true.
So we have a moral standpoint, and if atheists don't follow that, then the amoral, like, mindless idiot morons who don't give a shit about how other people feel or anything like that. But Christians, well, if they break the moral code that's supposedly objective, that they're told that if they break the moral code, they're going to burn in hell forever, well, they get to say sorry to their imaginary friend. They get to put their hands together and they get to look at the, I'm so sorry, Jeebus. And that's okay, and they get to do all the horrible things they want, because objective morality means that it's only horrible unless you ask apologies to God. And then it doesn't matter if you don't have to atone to the other people or anything like that. You just got to apologize to God, and then you could be as amoral as you want, because that objective morality is only objective as long as is not objective as long as you say sorry, and then it's okay, bub. Peace, got you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck off.
If I played Claire de Lune on the piano and I messed it up, does that mean that the author of Claire de Lune was a bad artist?
Yes and no. It depends exactly why you can't play that song. Can you not play that song because of your own incompetence? Or because of the horrific writing of the song? Like, the song itself might be fine, you know what I mean? Debussy, whatever. But, like, maybe, right? Maybe. Because music isn't just to one person, and it isn't just one tune. Maybe they have hands that are too big, hands that are too small, and they've written it for them and not so it can't be played again. That would make them a bad musician. Writing impossible chords that they think sound good because they pulled it off once, that is the writing of a bad musician. There are plenty of ways that you would not be able to play a piece of music, right? And then being a bad musician for that. But, of course, you can't think like that, or it was such a passing thought that you didn't think anyone would bring it up, or you just didn't know about it because you thought, well, it's Debussy, and he's a classical artist, and nobody can say a classical fucking composer is a bad artist. Checkmate, atheists. Have you seen my tie?
No. Us Christians are fallible people, but we're trying to follow an infallible book. We are imperfect. We have fallen short of God's grace, but we are trying to follow a perfect Redeemer, a perfect Savior. We are finite creatures as humans, but God is infinite. He is so far beyond us in understanding.
It doesn't matter if they never follow what Jesus says, and it doesn't matter if they pick and choose, because like I said before, they just go, well, we're not all perfect, so whatever, we can't live up to this perfect God, so why are you getting angry at us, man? We should just be able to do whatever we want, while we can accuse you of being all the bad things. We have an upstanding moral code that is impossible to live by our own admission, so that makes us fine upstanding citizens when we do bad things.
Break time, break time, break time, break time, break time!
In here, I think we have the real secret of why people like Christianity. Because Christianity goes, hey, why don't you just be a cunt? And as long as you apologize to your sky daddy, it doesn't matter. Because you still get to act righteous because we're all imperfect. So do all the bad things. And don't worry about it.
On the origin of life, we win.
And there was much rejoicing.
Christianity comes out on top, but they will mock the virgin birth, say, oh, how could a virgin conceive?
So first off, we win in our Biogenesis because, they like to mock us about the virgin birth.
It's still real to me, damn it!
What the fuck does the virgin birth have to do with the creation of life? Because it's the virgin birth. All right. So do you know where the virgin birth comes from? It comes from Isaiah 7. Let's read all of Isaiah 7, shall we? Not just the one line that they like about the Virgin and Emmanuel. When Ahaz, son of Jotham and son of Uzziah, was king of Judah, King Rezim of Aram and Pekah, son of Ramallah, king of Israel, marched up to fight against Jerusalem, but they could not overpower it. Now the house of David was told, Aram has allied itself with Ephraim. So the hearts of Ahaz and his people were shaken, as the trees of the forest are shaken by the wind. And the Lord said to Isaiah, And go out, you and your son, Shir Jasub, and meet Ahaz at the end of the aqueduct at the upper pool, on the road of the launderer's field. Say to him, be careful, keep calm and don't be afraid. Do not lose heart because of these 2 smoldering stubs of firewood, because of the fierce anger of Rezin, and of Aram, and of the son Ramallah. Aram, Ephraim, and Ramallah's son have plotted your ruin, saying, let us invade Judah. Let us tear it apart and divide it amongst ourselves, and make the son of the Tabal king over it. Yet this is what the sovereign Lord says. It will not take place. It will not happen. For the head of Aram is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is only Rezin. Within 65 years, Ephraim will be too shattered to be a people, and the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is only Ramallah's son. And if you do not stand firm in your faith, you will not stand at all. Again, the Lord spoke to Ahaz, ask the Lord your God for a sign, whether in the deepest depths or in the highest heights. But Ahaz said, I will not ask. I will not put the Lord to the test. Then Isaiah said, hear now, you house of David, is it not enough to try the patience of humans? Will you not try the patience of my God also? Therefore the Lord will give to you a sign. The virgin, which, doesn't actually mean virgin in the Hebrew. It's Alma, which just means young woman. Virgin comes from a mistranslation into Greek to fit with the story of Jesus. But that would require knowing about the writing of the Old Testament a little bit. And you don't want that because it'll fuck you up. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and birth you a son, and will call him Emmanuel. He will be eating curds and honey when he knows enough to reject the wrong and to choose the right. For before the boy knows enough to reject the wrong and choose the right, the land of the 2 kings you dread will be laid waste. The Lord will bring on you and your people and on the house of your father a time like any since Ephraim broke away from Judah. He will bring the king of Assyria.
You gave it your best shot, and that's all Jesus asks of you.
So, when you actually read it, and you look at the dates of, when King Ahaz was supposed to have lived, died 727 BCE. And the king of Assyria, who was supposed to come and did, and made Judah a vassal state. Ahaz's son is Hezekiah. One of the people that rewrote the Bible in the 7th century. And do you know who stopped existing in the 7th century? The Assyrians. And when it's talking about the young woman giving birth to the child and calling him Emmanuel, it means that before that child, before that child can tell the difference between right and wrong, there won't be any more, except Assyria lasted a lot longer and took over Judah, But, if you look at it too much, well, then it's not a prophecy about Jesus, so you can't talk about that. That's why we make fun of your shit about Jesus. Because you go, well, he definitely rose from the dead and was born of a virgin because the Bible said so. And because the Bible says so, well, then it must be true, right? Because it's the only truth. Because the Bible says so. Because if you look anywhere else, it's the devil telling you, isn't it? The devil's infiltrating your mind and making you believe all the wrong things. Because it's the devil.
Atheists believe that rocks conceived life. You can look it up. You can type in online. Just type in these words. You owe your life to rock. Brings up a paper that explains why secular humanism is a valid explanation and we descended from minerals that were eroded from rocks.
So when you actually look at it, instead of just looking at the title and making up whatever you want because you're a Christian and people should believe you because you're a Christian because you wouldn't lie about anything because you're a Christian and not a complete scumfuck, right? So if you actually read the fucking thing that you're talking about, do you know what it talks about? It doesn't talk about the formation of life, because it's only 4 or 5 fucking paragraphs long, you lazy prick. So what it actually says is that this DuPont guy from Aberdeen University in the Great United Kingdom said, hey, we think we found that when the continents collided to make the Nuna supercontinent about 1.9 billion years ago, the continents collided together and exposed a bunch of granite that basically, with erosion, because it was exposed to the earth, because it got brought up from the colliding of the continents, put a bunch of minerals into the seas, and that helped form multicellular life, not single cellular life, which came first, but the keratin bonds that started holding the cells together to create multicellular life. How about read the fucking thing first before you make up shit, you stupid cunt?
Some will mock the idea that God created man from the dust of the ground, yet they believe that lightning sparked life into existence, just like Frankenstein, just like science fiction, that lightning could create life, something that destroys life.
Yeah. Why would electricity, the thing that powers everything in us, you have electricity in your brain as it fires through the neurons to fire to the different points of the brain. You have electricity that fires through your nerves to tell you when to move something, or some kind of external factor that your body feels and sends as electric impulses through your brain. It's almost like we use electronic impulses to keep the heart going. When you go ba-boom, ba-boom, what that is shock, 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 shock. That's why you use one of the things to go, to stabilize. They don't bring you back to life with that's just TV. They stabilize your heartbeat with it. If you have an irregular heartbeat, they can shock it into being the right heartbeat. Now, it's just like Frankenstein. So what happened is all the matter that and all the RNA and stuff like that, and all the things that make up the chemical composition of early life, they all got together and they went up to a big tall hill, and then they waited till an electrical storm, and they put the formated cell that they wanted to make on the slab, and they waited for the electricity to come down and hit the thing, and they went, "It's alive! It's alive!" Like, we don't even know the actual natural process of how life evolved, started on this planet. We just don't. And, because of that, asserting that we say it happened with lightning is fallacious, stupid, and, all the other things that I've called you. So, can we just admit that you're a lying piece of shit who doesn't actually know anything about biology or physics, and has read the headlines of a couple things off a Ken Ham website or some bullshit? Come on. You don't understand biology, you don't understand physics, that's fairly obvious, and you don't understand atheism and how they think. You don't understand atheistic arguments, you just want to peddle some bullshit to all the believers out there because you want to make a quick buck. Because you're like a grifter. Like a lot of the other Christian YouTubers. Some of them, I can listen to some of them. If I listen to Inspiring Philosophy, or maybe Trent Horn, maybe Sean, whatever his name is, Gary Habermas, I can look at them and say they are true believers, right? But then there's other people, what's his name? That main knobhead from Trinity Radio, he seems like a grifter to me. Fucking Alan Parr, he seems like a grifter to me. Fucking Ken Ham seems like a true believer sometimes anyway. Ken Hovind's definitely a grifter. His son is definitely a grifter. Why don't they sell some more poisonous fruit pits to people as a cancer cure? Anyway, you are a grifter. You looked at all these people and went, I can do that for the younger people. And come on. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention, we're not supposed to mark the creation of Adam. It's funny. It's a joke. His name's a pun, for Christ's sakes. Why can't we mark that? God made an earthling from earth, because he made Adam from Adamah. In the Hebrew, if we stop pretending that it was written in English, and we looked at the actual language it came from, we could find out a lot more about what the text actually means. It's almost like saying that Adam was created from mud and clay is like a rip-off the Mesopotamian creation myth when Enlil creates humanity from clay and another god, because they have to sacrifice a god to make a god like be born, and then he says to the other, Enlil says to the other god, okay, I'll make it, what you do, you can do the good thing and the bad thing, I'm going to do the opposite, right? And then that's why, there's blind people and, mentally handicapped people and all these different things, because he made them. So, hi, Editor Me here. I couldn't be asked filming anything. I mixed up two different human creation myths from Mesopotamia. So, just very quickly, the bit about the two gods making all the disabled people and everything, that would be from the story of Enki and Ninmah, and it's about Enki and Namu, Enki and Namu. And he teaches her how to create man from clay, and and then they make. He goes like, "I'll do all the bad things, or you do all the good things. It's one or the other. We both, you have to have both." And then they make up, roles for them. And then I confused this with the creation of humans and the Atrahasis, where Enlil, Nentu, and Enki, and the womb goddess Mami make humankind through a sacrifice of another god, Geshtu, and mixing his blood and flesh with clay in the spittle of gods, and then they make like 7 good ones, and 7 pairs of good ones that isn't like the 7 pairs on the Ark at all, or anything like that, but hey. And it's not like it's ripping that off at all, trying to claim it for its own. No, why would it do that? It's not trying to fit in with the Assyrian law code at all. What do you want about? Who gives a shit about Hezekiah and Josiah and the things they did to your holy book? Asherah? Anyone? Asherah?
Sparked life into existence? Are you kidding me? And I've also heard them say that it's ridiculous that Jesus could have risen from the dead. How could you believe that as Christians? You're crazy? Look, they think every living organism descended from dead material.
I thought God created Adam from the mud and the clay. That's a non-living being, isn't it? That's a non-living thing, isn't it? It's mud. And then he put Adam to sleep, didn't he? Yes, he did. In chapter 2, yes, he did. And then he took Adam's rib. Yeah, oh yes, he did. Which isn't alive because it's calcium and like collagen, and stuff of that sort, to make the bone marrow and things like that. It's not alive. It's a part of a living being, but it's not alive. It's not a cell. it's bone, which is calcium, which isn't alive. And he made woman, which wasn't alive either. So how do you not believe the same thing? Well, God did it. Still made out of inanimate objects. But, of course, you're either too stupid or too dense to realize that. It's just so silly they believe this. Oh, I can't believe they believe in such magical things. I'm sorry, was I supposed to be triggered? Like, you're not that good at manipulation. You're not that good at, propaganda either. But, people are dumb enough and they'll believe you because, it's like Palin said.
Some people are really fucking stupid. Did you ever notice that? How many really stupid people you run into during the day? God damn, there's a lot of stupid bastards walking around. Carry a little pad and pencil with you. You wind up with 30 or 40 names by the end of the day. Look at it this way. Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that. And it doesn't take you very long to spot one of them, does it? Take you about 8 seconds. You'll be listening to some guy. You say, this guy is fucking stupid!
Atheism teaches a bigger resurrection on a larger scale than Christianity. I believe Jesus could have died and resurrected from the dead because he is God. But they believe every living organism descended from dead material, that unconsciousness produced consciousness, that non-life brought life into existence. It gets more and more and more wild. My friend, do not be tricked into thinking that atheism is even a plausible explanation.
People like this will like to say in podcasts and in other videos that, hey, You know, it's a great, Gen Z's so good because they're so Christian and pure, and they're doing all these things that the other generations didn't, because the other generation's turning away from God, and this one's coming to it. And then they make videos like this, like, well, you know, don't fall to atheism. Atheism is really bad. Which one is it? Are we a threat or are we not? Do you have to warn people about us or not? You know, it's fun that they can never make up their minds, because it's more about what suits the purpose of the time, doesn't it? That's why atheism likes to use science, because it goes, no, so it is not dependent on who's saying it. These are the constants, no matter what. But you know, oh, they believe in a bigger resurrection than us because we just believe that Jesus resurrected, and they believe that everything came from non-living materials. And it's like, that's not a resurrection. They have to have lived first. And, you know, that's really obvious to anyone that understands and has a simple grasp of the human language. But your audience doesn't seem to, though, do they? They're supposed to hear that and go, oh, those bloody atheists, they believe in a bigger resurrection than Jesus. Like, that's supposed to be a clever argument. Sometimes I wonder if you people put shit out there like that just to see if other Christians will say it so you can laugh at them.
Christianity is the only plausible explanation. And anybody who tells you that spontaneous generation, or biogenesis as they like to call it, is a possibility, they're lying to your face. Don't buy into it.
Hey, idiot! It's a biogenesis. Biogenesis is when a mummy and a daddy love each other very much, and then they do the special hug, and then the cummies come out, and they go all up in the mommy's vagina, and they go up through the fallopian tubes, and it fertilizes an egg. That's biogenesis. That's where biology makes more biology. It is biogenesis. A biogenesis is the start of life without biology. That's what you would mean. But of course, you're too stupid to understand this. You know, you've probably said this to other people, and other people have said it to you, but you think that, oh, well, it triggers them, or whatever. So then it's good to say, because if you muddy the waters with wrong words and misinformation, well, you could turn everyone into a conspiracy theorist, can't you? And then people will be more likely to believe you, because everything's so bad and horrible out there, and everything's so chaotic and evil, and everything's out to get you. The only thing that loves you is God. Fucking cunts.
Here on YouTube, many people accuse me of being a charlatan, that I'm in this for money, and that I just want to get rich.
What? No!
Let me tell you something. Creationism and preaching the Bible, the gospel of Christ, those things will not make you rich.
Okay, but now, things like houses and cars and clothes and money, they come as a result of my seeking God first.
Ken Ham, Ken Hovind, you know, the Hovind family in general, you know, the Gish family, like, you know, they're all rich as fuck. Like, fuck off. You know, preaching the gospel doesn't bring you money.
You will not get any tax dollars. You'll not get any government funding. But if I came out as an atheist tomorrow, I could make millions of dollars by telling people to believe in magic, that the world poofed into existence from nothing, and I could make a lot of money because I'd be tickling a lot of people's ears, making a lot of people feel good, because here I am, a former Christian that turned atheist, and I became a free thinker.
Yeah, because the likes of Dawkins and Hitchens and, like, you know, all those famous atheists, they all made their money from atheism, right? They all made their money from atheism. You know, they weren't reporters first, or biologists, you know, or biologists, you know, they didn't study in the biology field. None of them did, you know. You could look at all these atheist YouTubers like Aaron Ra and Apologia, The Amazing Atheist, and fucking, you know, the list goes on and on and on. And they're all so flush with money that it's just oozing out of them like a Joel Osteen or a Kent Ham. You know, because, yeah, you don't get no government money, but you don't have to pay no taxes either, do you son of a cunt? You know what I mean? So go fuck yourself, pretending like, oh, you know, like, you act like the government just takes all the money off you because you're a Christian, you get no help because you're a Christian. So why did Ken Ham, a creationist, get the fucking county he lives in, or was it the whole state of Tennessee, to basically pay for his theme park to be built. And then when they wanted to start taxing him on that, he then sold it himself because it was under a different organization. He sold it back and forth to himself, between himself and a charity, to try and evade the money. But hey, you know, it's atheists that do that shit, isn't it? Because there's no one makes money in Christianity. Not a Kenneth Copeland. Not any of them. None of them.
And just started deceiving people for money. I'm not going to do that. Look, I actually work a full-time job to support my family. We're a single-income family.
Yeah, and you don't have Patreon either, do you? You don't have the Patreon with tier that goes all the way up to around $50 with nothing really except general support. You know, it's like so many Christian Patreons that I've looked at. There's so many tiers, and they don't really give you anything. You know, like I have a Patreon, it doesn't really give you anything, but that's only because it was started 3 days ago, you know, from filming. So there's not really a lot there. You know? But I'll have actual hangouts and, you know, animes and shit like that. Maybe you should go support it if you want the channel to grow. But, you know, whatever. But I suppose it's evil when the atheists ask for money, you know. When you've got a Patreon, it's cool, yo, because it's money for the Lord. Because I'm in a single earner family, okay? Oh! You know, you found some right-wing woman that doesn't mind making you sandwiches all day and doing nothing else, you know, because you wanted some 1950s housewife. You don't get to complain about it when it comes to your money situation either. Go fuck yourself, you scumfuck son of a bitch.
I don't make really any money here on YouTube. Once in a while, somebody will donate to help with certain things, and thankfully that has helped. We've purchased a few pieces of equipment, and we're trying our best to reach people. My wife and I decided that no matter what the cost, we're going to try our best, even with limited resources, to fight the forces of evil.
I decided that in my off time, when I'm working my full-time job, I'm going to defend evil in my wife's. It's so touching. It's so moving. It's so touching. Fuck off. Such a sacrifice to sit in front of a camera for about 20 minutes and film yourself calmly talking about something. Well, then you can put yourself on the pyre, because, you know, it's so hard for you, isn't it? It's so hard in this podunk world. It's so hard to make Christian videos because it's such a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice.
And to better humanity, and to help people grow in the grace and the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. Whether that costs us everything, we are willing to give everything to see souls saved, lives changed, people come to know Jesus as their Savior, so that we lower suicide rates in America. We can lower drug and alcohol abuse rates by telling people there's hope in the Savior, and there's hope in living moral and righteous lives, and that there is an objective standard of righteousness, and that this idea that we descended from slime and fish and primates was a lie, and that the idea that God created us out of the dust to the ground is what makes rational sense. This other stuff is nothing but conjecture.
What a fucking hero. What a beautiful hero. You know, he really going above and beyond to try and stop people falling into those horrible traps of life. And him and his wife. I'm sorry. Come on, fuck off. That's the only way to stop it. It's not making things more affordable. It's not giving people more money in their wages, making, you know, like jobs actually worth working. It's not tying people's jobs to healthcare. It's not denying people basic rights in life, you know, like decent drinking water because, you know, it costs too money to replace the lead in the pipes. You know, you can't help people in a real tangible way that'll make them feel better. The only way that you make them feel better is God. So really, what you're kind of saying, or what I'm inferring anyway, is the whole system really is to make people feel down and out. So fucking scum-fucky ambulance chase Christian knobheads like yourself can go and hunt down these down and outs that are having a really hard time in life, and instead of actually giving them actual help, you have to tell them that God will provide it, and that's what gives them help. Instead of providing actual, real, tangible help that'll make these people's lives better, you just get to tell them to believe in God, and then they go, oh my God, I feel so much better because I believe in God. You get to feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and they get to relapse. You know, because just believing in God means that you can stop taking the drugs and you can pray the gay away. And, you know, it all just works. It all just works because it makes so much more sense when, you know, because the reason that person is an alcoholic or a smackhead is because they think that, you know, they were made from the ground, just like God said. Anyway, but aside from that, you know, that it's because they don't believe in God, and that's really where the nihilism and where the sadness comes from. It's the lack of belief in God, and it's not the horrific living conditions they're forced to endure. It's not the degrading nature of how people are treated at work or treated by other people. It's nothing to do with that. It's not about being a person who's fallen through the cracks in the safety net because the safety net gets thinner and thinner and fucks over more and more people because it's only the rich that matter, right? So when the people fall through the net, cunts like this can catch him and go, hey, by the way, have you heard of the Jesus? Hooray! Hosanna! What a cunt.
And the atheist YouTubers who promote it, many of them know better, which is a shame. But they still will hate on others and hate on God so much. God has extended his loving hands of mercy, his holy hands, to them to try to reach them.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
What is it?
I don't know.
They're hands. Well, what about my hands? I don't see how your hands are any better than my hands.
What, are you kidding? The knuckles are all out of proportion. You got hair over there. Where do you get off comparing your hands to my hands? This is a 1 in a million hand.
Well, that's what comes from avoiding manual labor your whole life.
Because God just reaches right out there and he touches everyone, doesn't he? I know as a fundamentalist believer for 10 to 15 plus years. And you know what? God never spoke to me, not word fucking one. But, you know, I'm not supposed to think that you're all crazy because I was surrounded by a bunch of people that said God was talking to him, and no matter how much I prayed, no matter how many Bible studies I went to, no matter how much I persecuted others in the name of God for the things the Bible says not to do, God never spoke to me fucking once. But, you know, this guy hears his own thoughts in his head, and he hears his intuition, and it is in a monologue, and he goes, it's God, it's Jeebus.
And I've heard atheists constantly say, if there is a God, he's going to let me into heaven because I haven't done anything too bad, or I'm a good person, I've helped an old lady across the street. That's what every single false religion says. They all say that if you're good enough, if you're a good person, you're going to go to heaven. That's the religion of Cain. The faith of Abel, the faith of the Bible, is that we receive forgiveness, not by trusting our own goodness and being arrogant, thinking that turning over a new leaf is going to get us to heaven. The Bible tells us, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. But the Bible also says that the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Don't be foolish. Be rational. The Bible says, come, let us reason together, saith the Lord. I'm all about reason.
Really? The fool says in his heart there is no God. Because, you know, the other false religions say that you get to go to heaven with the false acts, even though Islam certainly doesn't say that. Judaism doesn't have a heaven or a hell. And most religions don't, actually. So, you know, all the other religions must be just like Christianity, right? Because he's a Christian and all the people believe in things, and they must all believe in things like he do. Duh.
And I just want to say that I've been in the debate ring with certain of these folks, and these discussions, you can view them on the channel if you'd like, but they always come up short to explain almost everything. They're very lost and they need the Lord, and they need to humble themselves and realize that they don't know it all. I don't know it all either. I'm still learning every single day. But I know that we all need to grow based on a strong foundation, and that strong foundation is God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious you don't know everything, considering all the fucking things you got wrong. You know, because you're just like a normal person. You just read the headlines of things and go, well, that's what they mean. You know, I love it when these Christian knobheads, they'll sit there, like this cunt has for the last 10 minutes, you know, in that video, talking about all the reasons atheists are bad and all the, you know, and all the things that, you know, it's not all the other religions, it's definitely this one. I don't know everything, but I know enough to know everything about that genre of people and everything about that genre of people and that religion and this religion, and know that they're all wrong, and I know that perfectly because I live in a time and a place where Christianity is the majority religion, and I'm surrounded with my family and friends that are also part of that religion, so it reinforces the feeling that that is the correct religion because you're in a fucking confirmation bias bubble. But hey, nobody gives a shit about that, right? You're a fucking asshole who's trying to put across that there's some fucking martyr. You're so hard done by talking down to people like you're some fucking angel who's just giving them the hand to just make their lives better. You're a condescending prick who doesn't know anything about the world, you know. So this is why you're such a perfect person to make fun of. You know what I mean? Because of how stupid you are, and how inane you are, and like how high and mighty you think you are. Oh, be humble. I'll just sit here in my tie, talking at you like I'm a middle manager talking down to a shitty employee on minimum wage. Like, go fuck yourself, okay? This is Ben Hernandez. I can't wait to the next fucking video. See y'all later.